Blog Talk Radio.
Best-selling and award-winning author of true crime and crime fiction, Yvonne Mason is back with a brand new book, The Pink Canary, a book that delves into the life of a drag queen and a marvelous whodunit. You can find this and all of Yvonne's other works on Amazon.com or find Yvonne Mason on Facebook and Twitter.
You're gonna kill me.
Buy your copy of Pink Canary now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it's Thursday night. This is Off the Chain. I'm your host, Yvonne Mason. And, of course, that was another piece of shameless promotion. It's The Pink Canary. It is set in Key West, and it was done by my admin, Chris Dunham. If you need ad or voiceover work, I'm telling you, this guy is the best. He does all of my ads for me, and I don't know what I would do without him. Pink Canary is a comedy, it is a suspense, and it involves drag queens. So figure that one out. Now, tonight, I know y'all have been seeing me jump up and down because I was fighting with Blog Talk Radio and my computer and all that. Luckily, I have two computers, and the one that I do my show on is working fine. Who knows what's wrong with my other one? It's possessed. But anyway, tonight's show I've been waiting on for a while, because the gentleman that I have on is funny. He is hysterically funny, especially when it comes to something that happened in one of the short films he did. His name is Dee McCullay, or Don McCauley, and he is a Canadian-born filmmaker. And while he was contemplating between funeral direction and film production, he went to one of the film festivals in 2010. And after he left the festival, he decided on film production. He could have been a film producer or funeral director. He self-taught techniques in editing and began creating short films while landing a part in Rodney Dwira's 1057 as a SWAT team member. So not only does he do films, but he acts. He then landed a part in Trevor Zurkan's Quiver, an uncredited police officer. Next, he produced Thunder Bay Paranormal Society episodes 1 through 3 for Shaw TV, and upon finishing the 3 episodes, he created Dark History, a paranormal series, and has traveled into the U.S. and has worked with a well-known TV personality. He has also contributed VFX to Grant Johnson's Stick to Your Guns, and he continues on in the paranormal field shooting Dark History episodes with his production company, Thunderstryker Films. His current productions include Fallacious and Border Patrol. Now, before I introduce this guy, I'm going to tell everybody, you got 30 seconds. If you need to go pee, because you won't get to go pee during this entire hour, because you will be laughing so hard you won't want to leave because you'll be afraid that you're going to miss something. Good evening, my friend Dee. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing very good. Nice being asked onto the show.
Oh, I couldn't do this show without you. I mean, after all, this morning we were at 3,125 listeners just on this show.
Wow, that's crazy.
That doesn't include all the other podcasts, so we're well over 9,000 listeners, headed toward that 10,000 mark, and it's all because of you guys. Y'all are fantastic. Y'all are what makes the shows. Like I told you before the show, I quit driving this train a long time ago. It thing drives itself. It just took on its own life form and just drives itself. But what is really interesting, Dee, is you would think because my show is based in the United States that the highest percentage of listeners would be in the States, but it isn't. The highest percentage of listeners that we have is from down under. Our Aussie friends, thank you guys, y'all rock. Their percentage is 65%, 35% higher than the United States. Now, this show's heard all over the world: Germany, Norway, Sweden, Japan, New Guinea, Virgin Islands, Switzerland. I can't remember half the places it's heard. So y'all are getting heard everywhere. worldwide. I'm so proud of this, and for y'all, I don't know what to do.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
It is. It's just you and me and 9,000 of our closest friends tonight. I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too.
So before we start talking about the films that you've done, and they are wonderful films. I've seen a couple of them.
Thank you.
What in the world possessed you to get here, to go between funeral director and film production? Why? Those are two opposite ends of the pole.
Wow, that's well. First of all, I wasn't sure where I was headed. My whole life, it was like, well, I want to be this and I want to be that. You know, it's like, but it's always had something to do with something grim kind of thing. You know, it was like writing horror stories in grade school, and the cool thing was the teacher would read them, and everyone liked them. And so
wow.
Going through grade school like that, and then, you know, I always loved horror movies. I was an 80s horror kid. I was always renting these movies constantly and trying to emulate Tom Savini's makeup effects work, and I was making, like, movie props, like Freddy Krueger glove. I made one of those, and it got taken away on Halloween by the police.
I did.
My
Wonder
first
why.
brush with the law.
But not your last.
Yeah. Oh,
they literally took
But,
your Freddy Krueger glove away from you?
Yeah, and I asked about it years later, and they told me it was destroyed. No, I think it's probably hanging on that cop's wall.
Probably.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
And now you're famous, and he can say, "Yeah, I knew him when I took that glove. I knew that kid was going places. I just didn't know where."
Yeah, they probably thought jail.
What were you
But
being
yeah, that was my life as a kid. You know, it was always something grim. Always working, like thinking of like things like that, making movie props and special effects makeup, and I was doing like special effects makeup on myself at Halloween, trying to look like even like the Joker and stuff like that. I went through phases kind of thing, right? I was in the Batman, I was in the Ghostbusters, I made a proton pack, you know, all kinds of weird stuff like that, and I got known around here for making my movie props, which was pretty cool. And then, you know, years go by and you get into other things, like I was into DJing, you know, that's, I don't know, I was like scratch DJing and stuff like that, and music. It was always something that had to do with the arts. So as the years went by, I grew up and still did those things. You know, I was still DJing, things of that sort. And then finally I started thinking, well, what do I want to be? Because I'm at a crossroads here. I don't know what I want to do, honestly. And I start thinking about funeral director, and I said, that would be pretty good. And I actually went down to the funeral home and talked to the guy. And he's like, you know, this is not for the faint of heart or anything, but what can I say? You look like you should be a funeral director. He says, I've been looking at a lot of funeral directors coming from Toronto, and most of them nowadays are wearing like green mohawks, and he says, I just can't deal with that. He says, you got a real clean look about you, and, you know, if you go to college, I'll probably end up hiring you. And that was the problem, going to college, because I just had my son and everything like that, and I just didn't want to leave my little family, you know. And so I ended up going to a film fest, I think a couple of weeks later. So I'm still thinking of what I'm going to do. I go into this film fest, and I see this movie by a Spanish director. I forget his name, but the movie was called El Hilo de Oro or something like that. It was like The Golden Thread. And I watched it. I was like, wow, that was so cool. It really just blew my mind, like everything. And I got to talk to the director and everything and ask him all kinds of questions about it. And I walked out of that film festival And that's when I made the decision I want to get into film. That was it for me right there.
Well, how hard was it for you to, before I ask that question, though, the thing that intrigues me, because the arts fascinate me too, music, movies, paintings, anything that has to do with the arts, would it be a fair statement to say, because that the entire world we live in is created and evolves around art in some form, whether it's inventions, music, the written word, the spoken word, paintings, film?
Wow, yeah. I would say I would. Like, that's our culture, you know. That's like that's a pretty massive thing. Where would we be without all that stuff? We'd lose history, by the way, as well.
Exactly. Because even the spoken word, even things that are handed down verbally, is a form of art.
Right. I could see that.
They're verbal historians that because remember, well, don't remember because we weren't here then, but in the beginning of the civilization, they didn't write things down. In Scotland, for instance, they didn't write down their history. The Druids were the ones that were responsible for keeping the history alive, and they had to go through years of training and memorizations to keep the history alive, which is a form of art.
Right.
So when you decided to take this leap of faith, how hard was it, and what did you have to do to break into being an indie filmmaker? Because it's not something that you just go out one day and say, okay, I'm going to make a film and it's going to be out there and everybody's going to be happy with it. It doesn't work that way. Number one, it's not that easy to get everybody together that you need to do the film, plus write the screenplay, plus the props, plus the scenery. So explain to the folks how you managed to do that.
Well, when you start out the way I did, it's a rough road. I didn't go to school. I was like, no, I'm not going to go to school. I don't have the money for that. But I do have the money for a really good video camera. So I'm going to buy a video camera. So I did. And I started watching movies. And a lot of people don't watch movies like I do. They will watch it. Oh, that was really good. That was a good story. No, but it's really cool, and I've taught other people this as well. When you're watching a movie, watch what they're doing with the camera, the angles. What does that do for you psychologically? I wrote all this stuff down into a book. So, in essence, it was my little psychological film book thingy that I go back to every once in a while. Plus, it was full of great movie ideas as well, which I'm still using. But that's what I did. I didn't go to college, and I taught myself the psychology of the shot. And I taught a lot of other people that as well when, I'd be talking with them. And, just certain angles give you different feelings and different, even lenses give you a different feel and everything like that. So after buying the camera and going for learning to shoot, the next thing was learning how to actually get these epic shots. I took a look at my footage and I looked at, what looks amateur? I started studying my own stuff. I was like, that looks, really crappy. And I learned, move that camera slower. Always keep your camera moving slowly. No whip pans, no, bad lighting, stuff like that. Keep your camera moving slow. Keep your subject, in 1/3 of your screen, basically. Shoot like that. It just looks more better. It's more pleasing to the eye. There's like how would you say it? I can't remember the word right now, but it's basically all of that combined. And what I did after that was I went into shooting tourism shorts for the municipalities around here, and they liked it and everything. They thought it was great. So from there, I uploaded, like I'd recorded the stuff, put it on YouTube. The municipalities were happy with it for tourism and stuff. And next time I started noticing, like, those tourism videos are starting to be watched and starting to take off. I was like, man, this is actually working. My plan when I left that film fest that day was to actually start doing tourism stuff just to get my name out there for free. Just do it for free, get your name out there, get noticed, and it worked. And next time I started finding Google links, tons of Google links on my work and stuff like that, and I kind of blossomed from there. And then, from that I went over to acting in 1057 and Quiver, helped out a bit on that as well in behind the scenes. And then one of my friends gave me the opportunity to work for Shaw TV and to do like a 3-part paranormal show. And that's what I did. I finished up all 3, and it was my big chance to actually get my stuff noticed, like get it on TV. So it worked. It was local TV, mind you, but still, it was on TV.
Well, and the thing is, when you were talking about getting the shots right, you also probably studied the old classic films where the actors acted. It wasn't so much what they said, what the script was about, but their body language and their facial expressions and the way they moved or didn't move or the way they raised an eyebrow, because that speaks as much on film, if not more, than actual words.
That's true. I didn't study that stuff, like the older stuff, like the silent films, but I did look at the old stuff, Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and watched the way all that was shot. I enjoy those movies, by the way. They're great. Great
they
stories.
Are great.
Yeah,
and the
that's
thing
why
is,
they're the classics.
It's like you said, the way one shoots a scene leaves an imprint on someone's psychic. You want to keep the scene, especially an emotional scene or a scene that there's a lot of suspense. You want to keep it tight. You want to keep it close. You want to keep it in the viewer's face so that they feel like they're actually in that scene. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, that's completely true. Yeah, it's all in the way you shoot it.
Would it also be fair to say that down through the years we have lost the ability to shoot a film for its originality as opposed to all the bells and whistles and blowing up stuff and blood and gore? There's no suspense like the Psycho movies.
Right. There's a certain amount of suspense in these horror movies and stuff like that, but it definitely needs to hinge on story itself, not just, this is Splatter Factory X, this is the movie, bang, people are getting killed just like that. Really? Where's the story?
Right.
Like,
there's no
people want to hear the story as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and that takes me back to The Walking Dead. I hate The Walking Dead because it goes nowhere. It's just a bunch of people getting killed. It kind of
circles in on itself.
Yeah, it was a comic book series, but I'm telling you, I'm sick and tired of the zombies. I'm sick and tired of Negan. I'm sick and tired of Rick being a wimp. Get on with it.
Yeah. It's got to go somewhere.
Or let's just, I'm sorry, I'm from Georgia. It's a little town in Georgia where they film it. I'm sorry, folks, but these people, I am over them. 6 years of this is enough already. Let's move on.
Yeah,
now,
I'm not sure how far they've gone with the comics and where they're at right now. I never followed. I haven't watched it for a very long time. Not since season 5, maybe, season 4.
Honey, you're not missing nothing. Just rewind and play. That's where it is.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about Thunder Bay as a film community.
I get asked this even in the news. I've been in the news. I've been in articles talking about the film industry in Thunder Bay. It's weird that you ask me that. What I can say honestly, what I can say is there's a handful of filmmakers, including me, that are paving the way in Thunder Bay. As a place to shoot, that's what we're trying to do, is make it accessible for the big names to come in and shoot as well. We're showing off parts of the city. We let people know that, hey, you know what? You could come here and shoot a movie. You don't need to sign for, the heck do you call that now? Sign in with the city just to shoot on a certain street. You don't need to do that. You could just take your camera and start shooting.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, you're really free to shoot up around here, and that's what I like. Like this whole area, you don't have to sign any things with the government to shoot.
Don't have to file any permits,
it's really
and
free.
grease any palms, and
permits. That's the thing. Permit the frog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to sign those. You don't have to see Permit the Frog or anything.
You just go start shoot, which is a beautiful thing, because a lot of times that's what holds up a film and that's what costs so much money. It's not your actors and your sets and your gripes and your set people and your camera people. It's greasing all the palms and paying all the permits that you have to pay just to be able to go in there. That's
true, yep. And here it's just so accessible, and you're free to shoot. So if there is, some big names listening to this, and you want a good place to shoot for free, go to Thunder Bay, Ontario. That is the place to be. We've been saying this for years. Go there. It can double as Chicago even. It could double for Detroit in some areas as well. Because I just watched It Follows. Have you seen that? Okay, It Follows. Yeah, that's a really good movie. I was looking at where they were shooting. I was like, man, that looks like Thunder Bay. Seriously. So I actually had to go look. It was shot in Detroit. It's like, wow, Thunder Bay could double for Detroit as well.
Wow.
But seriously, great place to shoot.
I'll have to, and I don't know if you've seen my friend Jennifer Dawn. She owns her own film company in Arizona. I think it's Arizona.
Okay.
Southwest somewhere. But I'll have to let her know she needs to do some Detroit scenes or shoot somewhere where she's free to shoot. She could go up there if she needed to. That would be neat for her.
Yep, just tell her to find me, and I'll show her around all the great spots.
I'll get her to hook up with you. There you go. What is Dark History?
Dark History was a paranormal series that originally it started back in 2012 because I had just finished Thunder Bay Paranormal Society and put that stuff on TV. Well, I was like, well, I guess that's it. What do I do now? I kind of love it. Ghost hunting and, actually investigating, not really ghost hunting. You go hunting a ghost, you're seeing ghosts everywhere, right? Oh, I'm hunting, there's a ghost. No, I was doing paranormal investigations. And I went through a lot of their crappy, all these gadgets and gizmos that they use for hunting ghosts, and I found they don't work. So I ended up reducing, when I was doing Dark History, down to what I found actually works. And it was basically a video camera with a really good audio in it, a good compressor. So a video camera, and that covered EVP as well. And also radio, which of my own brand, is an SRC radio. It's like a canister radio. And basically what I would do is I would shoot my investigation, ask questions, and turn the dial, and then play it back on the camera. And sure enough, I'd be getting responses through my radio. SRC stands for Spirit Radio Communication. And that got me noticed in the States from Chelsea Damali of A&E's Haunted Encounters. So I worked with her. So Dark History basically brought me from the middle of nowhere, into the States to work with her on some little projects that we wanted to do. And then when it was done, I came back and kept going with Dark History after that, and then started working on these films.
So your destiny was not as a funeral director. You would not have been happy as a funeral director.
I think eventually I would have. I probably would have liked the money. You know, it's not a job that's just going to go away.
No,
So,
there's always
you know,
going to be a need for a director.
Yeah, yeah. So I think eventually I would have got tired of it after a while, crawling into vehicles, pulling bodies out and stuff. Yeah, I've seen it all, blah, blah, blah. I'm ready to move on. And eventually I would have got into film anyway. So why not just bypass that, bypass school, and just get right into film?
And the fact that you did it, it's what I call baptism by fire.
Yeah, yeah.
Sort of like my doing this radio show. You didn't get overly prepared for it. You just said, okay, I've studied film. I've watched how it's shot. I've made notes. I know that I need a decent, at that time probably what you could afford, a decent video camera.
Yep.
And then you just went from there, which tells me that was your destiny.
I believe it was as well. I don't know, I wouldn't have been as happy as I am now. Like with the opportunities that have come since, you know, shooting these horror films in the last year, it's like it's been completely insane. Like I came out of the paranormal field feeling down, knowing that there were people out there who were telling others not to pay attention to what I'm doing. I don't know if it was jealousy or what. I don't know what it was. Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was possibly that. And came into the realm of horror, and it was a completely different audience, completely different people. These people are there for you. It's like, you want an opportunity, here you go. Come here, come do this, you know, things like that. And this is why I'm on the Blog Talk radio right now. It's like, because it's such a great community.
It really is. In the indie side of us, the indie authors and the indie filmmakers, we are there for each other because we have to depend on each other. We don't have big money behind us to go out and market for us and pimp our stuff and knock on doors and make phone calls and grease palms. We have to do it ourselves, and if we don't take care of each other, none of us are going to be successful.
Right. Yeah, and you know, anytime someone wants to share something with me, I'll share it right back. You know, oh, okay, this is your work. Okay, I'll retweet it for you. Yeah, I got like 7,000 something followers right now, and hopefully they're all paying attention to what I'm tweeting out, like for other people and stuff, because I try to be there for them just as much as they are for me.
Well, that brings me to the movie that there were two of them that we were voting on for, or trying to vote on to win, because two of them were in the running. Fallacious was one of them, and what was the other?
Oh, wow. Was it one of mine?
Yes.
There's Fallacious for sure. The other one's probably Border Patrol.
No, it wasn't Border Patrol.
Okay, there's one called Scars as well.
That's what it was. It was Scars and Fallacious, and they were both in a contest for something. Explain to the audience what the movies were about, and then what they were in for a horror contest or something.
Oh, right, yes. They are actually, I was surprised that I've even gone that far, from conception of the idea to like producing it and then promoting and then figuring on, you know what, I'm going to put it in a film festival. And those two movies, Fallacious and Scars, I was so surprised to see how far they're at right now, that they are not just nominees in the iHorror Awards, they have bypassed semi-finalists, they are finalists in the massive iMovie or iHorror Awards. Completely surpassed my expectations. We're finalists, yeah, those two movies. So that's completely insane. I never thought it would go that far.
I am so proud of the movies. I'm proud of you because, again, as an indie artist, we have to work twice as hard to get half as far. Now, explain to the folks what Fallacious is about and then what Scar is about.
Okay. Fallacious is about basically hitting the same house repeatedly. You know when you find a good house when you're a kid and, like, you would go there, oh, man, they gave out so much candy, I want to go back. And then you change masks and you go back again. That's where the idea came from. That and the love of John Carpenter's Halloween. I love that movie. So I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. That's my story. I set out last February, maybe January, writing it. It just flowed out of me, no problem. And that's what Fallacious is about. Hitting a house repeatedly, but not to get candy. It's hitting a house repeatedly to terrorize this man who you hate. And what it leads to is his death. And it's just this creepy little kid that kind of lets herself into the house after terrorizing him. And, it's just all in all a great story. I don't know what else to say about it. You definitely have to watch it.
So folks can go on YouTube and watch it, or do they need to order the CD or order a download?
They could find it for free on YouTube at Dark History Thunderstryker Films. You could type in Dee McCullay as well. Hopefully that hashtag starts to work because I just added that into the hashtag as well. But you could find them on YouTube, Thunderstryker Films, Dark History. Look up Fallacious. You'll probably see the trailer first of all. Click on that. It'll lead you into all 3 films that I've put out.
All right, tell the folks about Scar.
Scars, that's one about this girl named Faith Beckett. She's really on her last legs. She's depressed. She's a cutter, so she does, like, self-harm. She's on her last legs. You'll see that her apartment is almost completely empty. And she ends up getting stood up by a would-be boyfriend and comes home to find an eviction notice on her door. So that's like the icing on the cake, so to speak. And she goes in there wondering what to do. She's going to face a life on the street. She's got 15 days to get out if you look very closely at the eviction notice. 15 days to vacate the premises. Well, now she's contemplating killing herself, or can she do it? As she's about to cut herself, this sort of guardian comes in like an angel, if you want to put it that way. She comes in and stops her, but she basically warns her that if you cut tonight, this will be your last cut, and it's going to be deep, and that's going to kill you. So please don't. And then suddenly this other one, a much darker, sinister entity comes in to tempt her into doing it. Now, I don't want to give away the ending, but that is what happens.
So it's basically a story of decisions.
Good versus evil, devil, angel on your shoulder.
And the consequences of those decisions.
Right, yes. Yeah, so...
Well done.
Yeah, that story there, that was written by Dave Dubose. He's the other Terror Brother, because we hashtag ourselves all the time as the Terror Brothers on Twitter. And people know us as that, or either D or Dave, one or the other. We're always linked together in our tweets all the time and stuff. And it was just a great story. When I read that, I was completely charmed by it. I was like, wow, that's really good. I think I'm going to do that. And it was like a week and a half, I was already ready to shoot. Now, that brings us into budgeting.
Mm-hmm.
All my films are low budget, no budget. That film there, I would say, was like $180, maybe $150, somewhere in there, which is peanuts. Now, you look at these other people that are asking on these campaigns, give us $10,000 to make a horror movie. What are you doing with that money?
Exactly.
Look what I did for like $150. What are you doing? Not all of them are like that. Like, not all of them will. I don't know what they're doing. If they're pocketing it or what, I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing. But why is it costing that much? Now, it could go into what was that? Signing things with the city. It could go into that. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah, permits.
The actors that you use on your films, where do you get them?
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Around here, we don't have too many actors. like in Thunder Bay, there's probably a handful of actors, and I ended up doing stuff like Rob Zombie. I ended up just using the same actors repeatedly because I know how they work, and they know how I work. And it's like bringing someone new in, I'll work with them as well if I need to, but if I could reuse the same actors, I will. And some of the actors are brand new to it. I've given IMDb credits to people that have never had credits before. And they end up reaching down inside themselves and pulling out this talent they never knew they had. It's like, I did that, you did that, and it turned out amazing. And look at where we are. You know, we're winning, or so close to winning awards. Why? Because of your performance. You did so well. So believe me, when I say you did a good job, you did a good job.
So not only are you following your path and your destiny, but you were pulling in other people who have a destiny and a path and want to succeed at their craft and giving them an opportunity to be successful as well. And that is a credit to you.
Yeah, so I've heard. Yes, I've actually heard that before.
It really is, because that says a lot for your character and the fact that you were willing to, like you say, you're willing to work with someone new and you're willing to help them pull out what they don't think they have. You make them want to be better than they even know they can. And you can't buy that kind of loyalty.
Right. It's definitely a journey of discovery for them and me, because some of the people that have come on with me to do these movies are like, I don't think I could do it, Dee. You can do it. And we keep things as light as possible on set. We keep it lighthearted. We laugh. We joke. We do multiple takes. Like, in order to get one of my actors ready to go, we'll do like 10 versions. All right, just roll with it. Keep doing it. Keep repeating. All right, now I'm going to get the camera going. We do another 10. And by the end of that 10, they know exactly what they're supposed to say, what they're supposed to be doing. And plus we have my good friend Jenny Belisle. She is our script supervisor. She's always like on the ball. She's always right there and say, okay, this is your line. Do you need it? Here you go. And any questions, it'll be answered by me or her. And it all works out in the end. And they do a great job.
Because they're comfortable.
Because we got them comfortable. We kept it light on set. No one wants to be yelled at. You're doing it wrong. You know, like no one wants to hear that. They're not going to work under those conditions, especially for free, right? They gave up their time. They traveled all the way over here to do this, and I don't think they would ever want to deal with that. I sure wouldn't, unless I was getting paid.
I wouldn't do it if I got paid. Believe you me, no. Because there has to be even for and those of us that are in this artist industry, we can be prima donna sometimes, or we can be on the opposite end of the spectrum. We can be the most despondent human being around. But there has to be a balance, and there has to be respect for those that we deal with in order for us to get the respect that we want. And I think you figured the balance out. You know how to get things out of people without beating them up about it.
Right. Yeah, and even with working with the kid on Fallacious, both kids actually, they managed to make their stuff so believable is completely insane. And just by telling you, okay, just the same process of repeating and repeating and repeating, and then rolling the camera and repeat. And by the end, they've brought out this performance they never knew they could have ever done. And so believable.
You are a master craftsman, my friend.
Thank you.
Master, and you will win one of those awards. I guarantee you one of those movies is going to win.
I hope so. I definitely hope so. You know, when I got the email saying that you are now a finalist in the iHorror Movie Awards, they said, clean off a spot on your shelf because you just might win. You know what? I took it by faith, and I did clean off a spot on my shelf.
There you go. Because when you put it out there and into the netherworld and into the universe, it's a done deal. I firmly believe in that. Now, let's talk about Border Patrol.
Okay.
Border Patrol was written by my friend Andrea Dean Van Scoyoc, and she and I have known each other for a long, long time. And the story that, as I remember it, so correct me if I'm wrong, is that she was trying to find somebody to do it, and you said, we can do it, pretty much.
Yep. Yeah, that was it. I don't know if she had talked to someone else beforehand about getting it done. Or she tried to do it herself. She was like, no, I can't. This is pretty much impossible for me in this location. Maybe I could find someone else. And eventually, like I said, I was a musician back in the day, DJing and, all that kind of stuff. Well, I put my stuff on SoundCloud and then posting it on Twitter, and then I found out she does the same thing. Mm-hmm. And that's what got us talking, about the music industry. And then she watched Fallacious, and she was like, I got the story. Would you like to read it? And I was like, yeah, okay. And it's pretty simple. And would you possibly, if you like it, can you try to produce it? I was like, well, I'll have a look at it. And I read it. It was a very short, simple story. It was like, I can do this. And that was probably about a week. I was already okay. I've adapted your story to a screenplay, and I'm going out to the location right now because I already had it in mind where it would be, like a dam up here, and that would double for a border wall kind of thing. And I went there and did the principal photography, took notes on it, came back, and, I've already started shooting principal photography. She's like, holy man, that was fast. And she's like, you're really doing this now? And I said, don't worry, I got you. I'm doing it. And what I say goes, and when I say I'm going to do something, it gets done.
Now, what is so funny about this is, ladies and gentlemen, Dee puts this cryptic message up on Facebook, and I read it 3 times before it finally sunk in. Tell the folks what happened.
Are you talking about the visitation?
Yes, I am talking about the visitation.
That was so funny that you'd mentioned Secret Service. I got a kick out of that. Sorry, it wasn't the Secret Service. You know how these things get blown up out of proportion, but it was pretty funny because I went there and got all my stuff done. I got my background plates and everything, and then I shot with the actors and stuff. And I put it all together, and then I put it out, the trailer's out there. Well, someone from, the owner of the dam had seen this trailer come up in their news feed somehow, and I guess they contacted the police. And so I'm sitting here, I was already working on scars. I get this knock at the door. So, who's that? I'm busy kind of thing. Go walk up to the door. And I was completely stunned when I opened that door and saw a police officer there. So I'm already thinking, oh, it's my brother. It's for my brother. It's got to be for my brother. He says, hi, are you Dee McCullay? Yeah. Filmmaker? Yeah. Thunderstryker Films? Yes.
How can I help you?
We got a complaint. Yeah, really. We got a complaint. Did you happen to film something called Border Patrol? I was like, yeah. And then he's like, the owner of the dam at the dam you shot at, seen that you had put your actors up on their tower. And I started laughing. And I was like, oh, my God. He's like, yeah, you guys basically, they think you trespassed and went up on that tower just, for your movie. It's like, no, stop. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. And I'm like, okay, you see that little gray thing on top of our garage? It's like a bar with 2 blue boards holding that gray bar up. He says, yeah. That was our tower. So what do you mean? Come inside, I'll show you. I brought him in. I shut down scars. I brought up the VFX plates, showed him the background. I showed him how I put the actors, I composited them into the shots, and he was basically smiling. He's like, wow. The VFX on that are top-notch. They're totally believable, he said. no wonder. Basically, it came down to no wonder the guy called, because they looked so real. And who has things like this happen to them? What filmmaker gets, police after them just over a short film? Like, seriously. Just me. Of course, me.
That
of all
was
people.
Hysterical. It was absolutely hysterical because it was believable. And,
yeah.
And that means that it was an excellent film that you shot in a week.
Yep. You know what? The timing on that, I will tell you something about that movie. I'm going to finish up with the rest of the story first. The officer was very polite and everything. He actually shook my hand. He says, yeah, I know some people in film too. And you know what? He says, when that comes out tomorrow, yeah, it was coming out the next day. And when that comes out tomorrow, guess what? I'm going to watch it.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess he watched it. Rated? No.
But that tells me that as in the writing craft, it was believable. The story, the film was credible because you made it look so real that the guy called the cops thinking y'all had trespassed on the dam.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I would never break the law. I would never, especially for a short film, I would never do that. Honestly, I would look at the consequences. Is this worth it? No, it's not worth it at all. So yeah, I didn't trespass. We made a big thing of it on Twitter and Facebook and everything. Me and Andy, and
But
basically,
the point is that it shows the credibility and the professionalism of what you did. That the consequences were somebody thought you were actually there, which is amazing.
Yeah, and that was the thing. We had shot that really on the roof of our shack for some of the long shots. And actually the police officer told me he actually drove by the day of shooting, and he remembers seeing Kyle on the roof with a rifle.
I wondered who he
But he didn't stop. He didn't stop and ask what we were doing. Wow.
That is funny.
I know. And that was the thing, too. We shot it on the roof of that and also on a bluff, basically. And if I would have moved that camera 2 inches to the left or 2 inches to the right, there would have been trees in the shot and everything else that would have completely killed the effect. So I believe I've done it right.
Oh, absolutely.
And here's the story as well. When we were doing that, kind of a little-known fact, but it cannot be released. We did shoot with someone else. We had Kyle Turner and Stan Alto play, but before that, it was Kyle Turner and another person. And I forgot to get that person to sign the release form. I said, "Oh man," and I couldn't be redone. So I told Andrea about it, and she's like, "What are we gonna do?" And I said, "I don't know. Whatever it is, I got you. Don't worry, Andy. I got you. We'll get this done." So we ended up shooting that film that you see in the span of 4 hours, and I cut the whole movie together in 18 hours.
Wow.
And that's what you see today.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you go to YouTube and pull up Border Patrol and watch. It's a 3-minute film. It's a very, very short. But now that you know the backstory of the cops knocking on the door because this guy thought they were on the dam, it makes this film even more believable, more intriguing, and you just want to fall down laughing when you think about it, because the guy really thought they were on his dam. Now the thing is, was the guy there that day? Was he at the dam, or was he someplace else?
I think what it came down to was he saw the trailer. I don't think he was physically there at the dam when I did principal photography and background plates, because that's all I did there was basically shoot that, fly a drone up over the trees and land it back down again. and I don't think anyone was there.
But
what he saw on YouTube, he believed that we were, I don't know who the guy is, but he believed that we trespassed, and I would never do that.
What you ought to do is get his name and go shake his hand. Seriously,
oh, no, I'd probably go over there and get caught for trespassing.
Go and shake his hand and thank him, because he put this short on the map with the fact that he really thought y'all were there. That is just too funny. Just absolutely.
Yeah, it provided the credibility, that's for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. Would you believe that we are just about to run out of time?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. That was fast.
Me either. The hour goes fast. But you, ladies and gentlemen, he is coming back on April the 29th because he is shooting some more films, and he's going to launch a film on April the 29th. So be sure and tune in at 8 o'clock here on Off the Chain, April the 29th. Now, Dee, tell folks where you can be found.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Dee McCullay Dark History. You can also find me at Thunderstryker Films. You can also add me as a friend on Facebook as Dee McCullay. I don't always answer them, but once in a while I'll respond to a friend request. And also you can find me on Twitter at Dee McCullay, and also on Twitter at I am Dee McCullay.
You're just all over the place.
And don't forget about my YouTube channel as well. That's Thunderstryker Films Dark History.
Because that's where all the films are. That's where Fallacious is. That's where Scar is. And that's where Border Patrol is. And, ladies and gentlemen, take advantage of these free films while you can, because there will come a day when Dee will be putting these on DVDs and you will have to buy them. I'm telling you, it's coming.
Yeah, one day.
It's coming, and it's going to come soon, especially when you get that award, and especially as Border Patrol gets out there more and people hear the backstory. It's coming. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get in on the ground floor of an up-and-coming film director, go look at those YouTubes, especially Border Patrol.
That's what they say. That's what they say. I'm one to be watched in horror, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you had someone come up to you and say, I have a dream, but I don't know what to do with it, what would you tell them in 2 minutes or less?
Oh, geez. I would say, and what would you like to tell me? Would you like this to be a story? Can you pass me it off as a story? Is that what you're doing? Would you like me to produce a film for you? Why are you telling me this? That's what I'd say.
Well, maybe they want to do something themselves, but they don't know how.
Well, I would say, you can do it. That's what I always say is you can do it. You put your mind to something, you can do it. If you want to end up making your own movie, don't let barriers stop you. Obstacles will be in your path always, but if you're on the right path, those obstacles will clear, and you can make a name for yourself.
And the arts are what our universe is comprised of. That's why we have a civilized society. It's because of the arts. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that, yes.
With the inventors.
That's what makes us civil.
There you go. The inventors, the musicians, the painters, the writers, the movie makers, the opera singers, the rock singers, the blues singers. Everybody has a story. And it just have to bring it out. Even an invention is a story when you think about it.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, right here on this channel, this station, Off the Chain, I am going to have a first-time guest. His name is Robert Loothole. And he is an interesting character. So you will have to tune in at 8 o'clock and listen to him. And then we're off until next Wednesday. And next Wednesday, my return guest will be Taylor Dawn. And then we won't have any more shows because I will be out of town until the following Wednesday when Annette Love Houghton will be here. So tune in tomorrow night at 8 o'clock and listen to Robert Luthal, and understand that Dee didn't get where he is by procrastination, nor did he get where he is by waiting for someone to hand him something, nor did he get where he is by waiting on that slow train to nowhere. Dee had a dream.
Yes, I did.
And Dee made that dream his. He owned it. So when someone comes up to me and says, but you don't understand, I say to them, but you don't have the courage. Would that be fair, Dee?
I think that would be fair. I think that would be. Because there's always an opportunity to turn your life around.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter if it's a dream or if it's an everyday job. Doesn't matter what it is. Even an addiction. You have an addiction and you say, but you don't understand. Yeah, I do. But you don't have the courage. And courage is going somewhere and doing something when you're scared to death. Would that be a fair statement, Dee?
Yeah, that would be.
Because when you got behind that camera to make those tourist videos, you weren't confident that they were going to be blockbusters. You hoped, because we do live with hope, your desire was that they would be, quote, unquote, good enough for the tourist industry. But you didn't have that, because none of us do, that, okay, I'm going to go in here like gangbusters and I'm going to be the next big name in movie direction. Would that be fair?
Right. Yeah, I didn't go in saying I'm going to be the best. I went in with what I had and said, this is what I'm going to do, and hopefully it's going to work. I went in there with courage and the tenacity to never stop. It's like, this is it, what I want to do.
Because can't is not in your vocabulary like it is not in mine.
That's true, yeah.
My brother, who is handicapped, can't is not there. He doesn't believe in that word. If he wants something, he goes after it. So if he can go after his dreams and make his dreams real, and he being challenged, and us being semi-normal, which is relative and perspective.
Yeah.
What makes us any better than him?
Right. We all have that ability to move forward, to constantly take that next step, that next leap of faith, that we need to establish ourselves and make those dreams a reality. We can do it. That's what I always say. You can do it.
And you have proved it over and over with your actors. You've pulled out of them what they didn't think they had.
Right. Yeah, they were surprised.
And you pulled, and in the interim, guess what you did? You pulled out of yourself what you might not have thought you had.
Yeah, exactly. To make it this far in film is absolutely insane. I'm surprised myself. I can barely believe it.
And I am very proud of you, my friend. And I am honored,
Thank you.
So honored that you took the time to come and be on my show and share your life with others and to show what people can do with their lives.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been great. This has been one of the greatest blog talks that I've ever been on. I just absolutely enjoyed it.
Well, thank you. Well, that's why we call it Off the Chain. I never know where we're going.
It has been off the chain, yeah.
we just go wherever the show goes.
Yeah.
But it's fun. But it's fun that way because if you have a scripted show, it gets boring.
Right. And I never know what the voices are going to tell me to say. They're always so entertaining.
Oh, you have those too.
They basically say, repeat after me. That's my muse. Repeat after me and I'll lead you somewhere. You just say what we tell you and you'll be fine.
See, we are kindred spirits. You have those too. Ladies and gentlemen, they're going to cut us off. So until tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, this is Off the Chain. This is your host with my guest, Dee McCullay. Look him up. See you then. Love yourself. Okay, we are off the air, but anything we say now will go up into the archives. But I did want to remind you, again, that as soon as this archives, I'll get it up and link to you, and then when I upload the podcast tomorrow, I'll get those to you as well. And thank you so much, my friend, for an hour.
Thank you so much. This is actually, like, amazing. Like, this is probably one of the best podcasts I've been on. Like, I've been on a few, and some are very memorable. This one here was just, like, off the chain. It was, it was funny. It was heartfelt. We made it through the funny stuff, got into talk, and then we get into some funny stuff, and by the end, it's so sincere and heartfelt with what you can do with your life. So we've taken people on a journey, on a train ride. It was great.
Well, thank you. I try to end every show with that little postscript because I think it's important that people believe, that they have something to believe in and to believe in themselves, because there's so many people out there that have a defeatist attitude. Yeah.
And that comes from living in the world, So many people can attack you and drag you down and make you feel worthless and make your crafts feel worthless. Mm-hmm. I've been there. I've been depressed. And when you finally start coming out of that tunnel, it's like a tunnel. You finally turn around. You could be in it for years, but you turn around and you find out the entrance was right behind you.
And all you had to do was walk through it.
Yeah, that's all you had to do was turn around and walk right back out, and you're done. But
and then
that's the thing with depression. You never know when it's going to end.
And you never know when it's going to start, because I fought it for years. But I finally decided that I don't have time for it. And so when it tries to sneak up on me, I tell it just to go down the road somewhere, because I don't have time to be depressed. It makes me too tired, and it's destructive, and it's negative, and I don't have time for negative in my life. I've got too many positive things like you and the show and other guests and my books and driving people insane, and that's more fun than being depressed.
Yeah, you don't have time to get depressed.
No, I don't. It's not on my list of things to do.
That's why I like to stay busy.
And I also tell people that no one can destroy your dream without your permission.
Right, and you take on that defeatist attitude and it becomes part of you. That's when that's destroyed. It's like, no, it's not going to happen. I can't.
Exactly.
You're right. Totally right.
And I don't give anybody my permission anymore to destroy my dreams. I did that for a long, long time, and I woke up one day and I said, "You dumbass." You're in control of your life. They're not.
Yeah, it's them that's trying to do it. It's not me. I'm in control of what's going on here, not them.
Right.
It's like the same thing with when people learn that Scars has made it into the iHorror finalist category. Within that hour, they were like, "What a pile of shit." So I took that and made that into a positive. Basically, what I did was I shared that to everyone who would listen. It's like, look at this, haters gonna hate kind of thing. Look how it might be a pile of shit, but it's a finalist pile of shit. Get that? Well,
and this is true in writing too. And what I have found out is, number one, haters are going to hate, and number two, people that make those kind of statements are people who have allowed other people to destroy their dreams.
Right. There was someone on Twitter that I had shared my thing with, one of my movies, and I asked him if he does that as well, like has his stuff on YouTube. He said no. Something about the criticism has made him basically very upset about the way things go with comments and stuff. And he won't post on YouTube. I was like, wow. Well,
so now they
posting
control
on YouTube.
him. So now they control.
Basically, he's under their control. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. They're controlling him now.
The bullies don't control me, because when the bullies try to control me, I send out my flying monkeys.
Yeah, I see that. You're always talking about flying monkeys.
and it works, honey. And let me tell you,
oh, yeah.
I live in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
My children live in Georgia. because that's where I'm from. I have a
Right.
very long reach. There was a kid. There were two kids that were bullying my granddaughter, and they had her in tears, and I found them. And I said, I'm going to tell you something. I said, I might live 650 miles away, but you can bet your sweet ass I have a long reach. Well, what I did is I put on my Facebook page what this kid had said about my granddaughter's in ROTC. And he told her that she wasn't smart enough to go into the Army. I mean, she's been dreaming of going in the Army since she was 10 years old. She's 17.
Oh, okay.
And she is going into the Army. Everything she's done has led to that path. Well, he said that she had no right to be seen in her ROTC uniform, that she was a dumb bitch, she was too stupid, she would never get in the Army. Well, I found out about it.
Right.
When I found out about it, I got him. So I have many friends on my network. Some of them are service, some of them are former service, some of them are just civilians, but they're all very loyal. And I said, this guy and this girl, and I posted their Facebook pages, are bullying my granddaughter. And that was all it took. We shut him down like a bad habit. So I told him, and then he called me an effing bitch and said I was too stupid to know anything. And I said, it's really a sad day when your vocabulary is filled with curse words and slurs because you do not have basis to debate an issue. Bless your heart. Because bless your heart is Southern slang for an insult that Southern women use all the time, and depending on the context of the conversation, it can be an insult or it can be a compliment.
Huh. Okay.
That's something you've learned today. So when you see me say bless your heart after and I know you've seen it, after a nasty rant and I say bless your heart, it's like telling them that I spit on your grave. I mean, it's that bad of an insult.
Yeah, it's like heaping hot coals on his head.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, we shut them down. So when I say the monkeys are flying, you can bet your sweet bippy results will happen.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
So if anybody starts bad-mouthing you, just let me know. I got your back.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Yeah, well, back in the day in the paranormal, things got pretty bad, especially on Twitter and stuff, and dropped off Twitter for a while. Came back with the horror field, and everything's great now.
Well, that's because people are jealous and stupid.
Yeah, especially in the paranormal, that's for sure. A lot of I don't want to really drop names, but even I was friend with a certain, I was friends on Facebook with a certain high-level TV personality that does ghost shows. And the day I put out Dark History Episode 1, the darn guy blocked me. It's like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Jealousy over that.
Because they have such fragile egos. Fragile egos. Now, some of the quote-unquote paranormal investigators, I doubt that they're real.
I was in that field, and a lot of them, from what I hear, just to make the show go on, they'll cause things to happen.
Because you have to have that sixth sense about you, and it has to be real. And the reason I say that is because I have a ghost that lives here with me now. There's two of them, actually, and I think one of them is my sister. And I had 5 that lived in my old house with me.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And I knew that. And we all, because we have that Scottish-Irish heritage, we all have that.
So do I.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. It's that you know it.
Yeah.
And my grandson, when he was little, he asked his mother, he said, Mama, do you see that man in the corner? And she said, no, son, what man in the corner? He said, that man over there in the corner. She said, well, what does he look like? He says he's wearing a top hat a black top hat and a long coat. And she called me. I said, Brandon, don't discount it. I said, that's his guardian. That's his guardian. I said, he was here at this house, and he moved when you took Cherokee to live with you again. He moved with Cherokee.
Oh, yeah.
I said, he watches over him, so don't discount him.
Cool.
So, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So on that one, my friend, I will leave you, and I appreciate you so much, and thank you again for being on my show.
Yes, thank you. It was an honor.
And
thank you.
You're welcome, and I'm going to set you up for April the 29th and have something ready so we can release it and talk about it.
Okay.
And anything else you want to talk about, anything else that's going on, and we'll laugh some more and talk some more and dream some more.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, darling, and kiss the kid for me.
I will.
All right. Good night, my friend.
All right. Good night. Goodbye.
Bye.
Napa know-how.
The Napa guy knows not to judge a man by his car's multicolored paint job or absence of modern gadgetry. Who cares if it's technically old enough to vote and the windows are powered by the strength of your left arm? Your monthly payment is zero, and it'll stay that way. Because with over 500,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep anything on the road. She may not be pretty, but she's all yours. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.